You are listening to Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Well, folks, my brother Mike is back on board on this episode of Codo Cinema. Now, in our previous episode, Mike, want to talk about what we did in our previous episode?
Sure, Mark. What we did during the previous episode, we talked about the Ten Commandments.
Well, this time around, we are going to talk about a movie that is related to the Ten Commandments, but this one will be coming from DreamWorks Animation.
Or DreamWorks Pictures.
Right. And this one would be this one would be The Prince of Egypt.
This is going to be a good one to talk about.
Yep. So, The Prince of Egypt, just to be fair though, this is the DreamWorks version of the Ten Commandments, except we don't see, spoiler alert, we don't see the Ten Commandments until the end of the movie, which is the last shot of the movie.
Yes, that is true.
But in hindsight, this movie, The Prince of Egypt, is a pretty good biblical movie.
Definitely good.
Now, The Prince of Egypt is a 1998 American animated musical drama film directed by Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells, and written by Philip Lesnick. It is the first traditionally animated film from DreamWorks Animation and the first to be animated entirely in-house at DreamWorks Animation Glendale after Amblimation was closed in 1997.
Wait, what? Amblimation?
Yes, so just to double back about Amblimation. Amblimation is basically Amblin Entertainment for animated movies, which was actually founded by none other than the legendary filmmaker Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, but Steven Spielberg, the man who directed the Indiana Jones movies.
Yep, but also don't forget Jaws as well, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List,
Close Encounters of the Third Mind,
and of course E.T.
Of course, I heard he did the second segment of Twilight Zone the movie.
Yes, that is right. He's also got another movie coming out sometime this year. I think the name of the movie is called Disclosure Day. Disclosure Day.
Disclosure Day.
Yeah, Disclosure Day. Yeah.
Oh, close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's the film that Steven Spielberg directed. I kind of like mispronounced it.
That's all right. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, Steven Spielberg was a part of Amblimation, and Amblimation only did like 3 films, which was An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, which was the sequel to the first film that was directed by Don Bluth, and then you got We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, and of course Balto. Technically, the American Tail sequel was able to make some money back, but the other 2 movies, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, and Balto, didn't really do that well at the box office.
And there was going to be an animated version of Cats.
Yes, that is absolutely true. There was going to be an animated Cats movie, but unfortunately, that film is canceled due to Amblimation shutting down, and of course the box office reception of Balto and Rebecca Dinosaur Story. Plus, I also covered the canceled Cats movie about a couple years ago. So if you want to check that episode out, go ahead. Once this episode is done.
You did that in 2024.
Yes, I did that. But anyway, how come I'm going off? But anyway, yeah, I'm going off topic because yes, I am going off topic because Amblimation shut down in 1997. So, and around that time, Spielberg was involved with that studio. Prior to the shutdown, Spielberg was one of the few people who founded DreamWorks.
Yes, I mean, I didn't know he was the founder of DreamWorks Pictures.
Now, Spielberg, he's not really credited for any producing roles on The Prince of Egypt, but him, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and Geffen are basically the founders of DreamWorks.
Wow, that's That's very impressive.
Yes, David Geffen, that's his name. David Geffen, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and Steven Spielberg are the founders of DreamWorks Pictures.
That is amazing right there.
Yes. So yeah. I know I went off topic, but it's absolutely true. Spielberg is involved with DreamWorks. So anyway, to move forward, The Prince of Egypt is an adaptation of the Book of Exodus and follows the life of Moses from being a prince of Egypt to a prophet chosen by God to carry out his ultimate destiny of leading the Hebrews out of Egypt. And it features songs that were written by Stephen Schwartz and a musical score composed by none other than Hans Zimmer. And the film has a pretty good voice cast too. It has Val Kilmer, Ralph Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum, Danny Glover, Patrick Stewart, Helen Mirren, Steve Martin, and Martin Short.
Now that's an all-star cast right there.
Oh yeah, that is an all-star cast right there. And this movie this movie was released on December 16th of 1998 at Royce Hall and the United States on December 18th of that same year. And it has a runtime of 99 minutes. The film's budget is between 60 to $100 million with a worldwide box office of $218.6 million.
Now that's a lot of money.
It is definitely a lot of money, and it actually, come to think of it, that's a pretty good box office right there.
Yep, and of course, that same year, that Saving Private Ryan came out, to which that movie was also distributed by DreamWorks Pictures.
And Spielberg was involved with that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, DreamWorks co-founder and CEO Jeffrey Katzenberg had frequently suggested an animated adaptation of the 1956 film The Ten Commandments while working for the Walt Disney Company, and he decided to put the idea into production after leaving Disney and co-founding DreamWorks Pictures in 1994. To make the project, DreamWorks employed artists who had worked for Walt Disney Feature Animation and Amblimation, totaling a crew of 350 people from 34 countries. The film has a blend of traditional animation and computer-generated imagery created using software from Toon Boom Technologies and Silicon Graphics.
So there's CGI in it.
So there is a mix of CGI, yes.
I mean, it is hand-drawn animation while also adding in CGI.
Yes.
I mean, Disney did that too.
Disney did that too with many of their movies. Like for example, just to give you an example, The Lion King. The Lion King has traditional animation, but the wildebeest sequence where Simba is being chased by the wildebeest is entirely CGI.
Yeah, so. And another example, The Great Mouse Detective,
Where
where Basil and Ratigan were both inside Big Ben.
actually, while they're inside Big Ben, the clock gears are CGI.
I didn't even know that was CGI.
But they had to blend in traditional animation to it just to make it look like it's hand drawn.
Of course, and of course, a Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast did that for the ballroom dance sequence with sweeping camera movements during the whole dance sequence.
Mm-hmm. Now those are a few examples.
Those are a few examples, but for DreamWorks, they did a pretty good job with blending in traditional animation and CGI. It's not the only film they did that. In fact, just a few years later, after Prince of Egypt, they did the Spirit movie, where they actually blend in CGI and hand drawn animation.
Of course.
Now, just to move forward, to continue on, the reviews for The Prince of Egypt were generally positive. Critics particularly praised the visuals, songs, musical score, and voice acting. And it grossed $218.6 million worldwide in theaters, which made it the most successful non-Disney animated feature film at the time.
So that is a success right there.
Yes. This led to this led to a direct-to-video prequel, Joseph King of Dreams, in 2000, and a stage musical adaptation which opened in London's West End in 2020. The song "When You Believe" became a commercially successful single in a pop version performed by Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, to which the song went on to win Best Original Song at the 71st Academy Awards, making The Prince of Egypt the first animated film independently outside of Disney and Pixar films, as well as the first DreamWorks Animation film to receive Academy Awards, succeeded by Shrek and Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and it also won the inaugural Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Animated Feature in a tie with Disney and Pixar's A Bug's Life. And in the decades since its release, The Prince of Egypt has been widely acclaimed and regarded as one of DreamWorks' best films and one of the greatest animated films of all time.
That is amazing right there.
Yes.
And this is actually their, well, I would say their first DreamWorks animated movie, but but probably the second, because there was a DreamWorks animated movie that came out right before The Prince of Egypt.
That's right, because around that time in 1998, DreamWorks released their first animated film, Ants, which is basically, come to think of it, it's like Bug's Life a little bit.
With CGI.
Yeah, with CGI, you know.
And that movie also had an all-star cast.
Right, that movie too also had an all-star cast. But let's be honest, but even around that, but around that time, that movie was pretty good. I haven't seen Ants, although I've seen a few clips, but I haven't seen that movie
Well,
in its entire form.
I actually saw the Ants as well, but I did watch like a couple minutes of it, probably like half hour of it, but not the whole movie.
It's almost like a precursor of the Bee movie with Jerry Seinfeld a little bit.
Yeah,
You know, remember that one?
I do.
Yeah, it's basically the Ants movie. While it's a fun movie, it's almost a precursor of the Bee movie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's go back to the Prince of Egypt, because the Prince of Egypt for us, like, and look, I'm just gonna double back. I enjoy the Prince of Egypt a lot more than the Ten Commandments, in my personal opinion. Because in my opinion, though, the Prince of Egypt was a lot of fun.
I totally agree. Even though, as much as I enjoyed the Ten Commandments, the Prince of Egypt was a lot of fun.
I mean, the Ten Commandments movie with Charlton Heston will go down as the greatest biblical movie of all time.
Of course.
But the Prince of Egypt, I say this one comes a close second.
Exactly, and of course it has a shorter runtime.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer a much shorter runtime than a longer runtime, in my opinion. Although I will agree, although I can understand why the Ten Commandments movie that Cecil B. DeMille did, I understand where he was going with that. He was stretching the story out to be true and faithful, you know?
Exactly.
And that's not a bad thing. I don't mind a movie telling the story faithfully and true, right?
Yes, and of course, we actually. You're probably wondering how do we got into this movie?
Yeah, exactly. How did we get roped into this movie?
Actually, we were watching. When we were little, we were watching Spirit Stallion the Cimarron on VHS, and they show a brief trailer of the Prince of Egypt.
Yes. And we also seen a couple of clips of the Prince of Egypt as well. Most notably the plagues.
Yes.
The plagues, and then of course we're playing, and of course the musical number "You're Playing with the Big Boys Now," to which was actually sung by Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Both of them are from Saturday Night Live.
Yep. Now we have seen this movie. We have watched this movie in its entire form, and I'll say this movie is really good.
It is a very good movie, and this is not a Disney movie.
It's not a Disney movie. It looks like a Disney movie, but it's not. Because just to add a little more context to it, Jeffrey Katzenberg used to work for the Walt Disney Company, but apparently, Jeffrey Katzenberg was working for Disney at the time, but he was fired from position as chair of Walt Disney Studios in 1994 by Michael Eisner after a power struggle and refusal to grant him royalties, ending a transformative era where he spearheaded Disney's animation renaissance.
Oof.
He subsequently co-founded Dreamworks, a major competitor, and famously settled a lawsuit against Disney for roughly $200 million.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
And apparently, and apparently, this is basically, fired. Basically, he filed a breach of contract lawsuit, which actually was settled for $250 million. And obviously, he was Katzenberg was a head of production from 1984 to 94, and he was instrumental in reviving Disney's film division, overseeing hits like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. However, the conflict hap- more however there was conflict resulting there was conflict after the death of Disney's president Frank Wells. Katzenberg demanded to be named president, but Eisner refused, leading to severe tension and Katzenberg's departure, which resulted in him co-founding DreamWorks, which obviously enough begins the rivalry between DreamWorks and Disney.
So this is where the competition begins.
Yeah, this is where the competition begins. This is where Disney has finally met their match.
Uh-huh.
Although not the first, DreamWorks is not the first. Don Bluth was able to have competition with Disney with An American Tail and of course The Land Before Time.
Of course, to which both of them were produced by Steven Spielberg.
Right. But of course, DreamWorks just walked in and said, finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. You know?
Yeah, but
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, going back on topics in the movie, I prefer the Prince of Egypt more than the Ten Commandments, most notably for the runtime. Both of their stories are really good. I really do. But of course, I mean, I prefer Prince of Egypt.
Yep.
I know Prince of Egypt a little more than the Ten Commandments, just to throw this out there, but I still enjoy the Ten Commandments movie with Charlton Heston as it is. I mean, it's got a lot of good moments in that movie.
Exactly. But Ten Commandments holds up very well. The same can be said with the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, actually, I found this too. The production team and executive producer Jeffrey Katzenberg conferred with roughly 600 religious experts to make this movie as accurate and faithful to the original story as possible. After previewing the developing movie, all of the religious scholars, experts, and leaders associated in making of this movie noted that the studio executives listened and responded to their ideas and praised the studio for reaching out for comment.
Really?
Yeah, from outside sources.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of shows you that really tells you that these studio executives listened that the studio executives listened, right?
They did.
And they're trying to be, as faithful as they can while also telling a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, Spielberg insisted that the film end on Moses carrying the Ten Commandments.
And that is true.
Yeah. Anyway, just to move forward, let's get to the movie. Let's get to this movie, shall we? Let's get to the opening. Let's get to the movie. All right.
Yep.
So anyway, this movie is in so the movie opens up in ancient Egypt. Hebrew slaves are hard at work making bricks and setting up giant statues and other monuments. Through a song, it is implied that they call on their God regularly, seeking deliverance from their slavery under which they have labored for hundreds of years.
I mean, it opens up with a song called Deliver Us.
Mhm.
And you see all the Hebrew slaves working.
They're basically working while being exhausted.
Yes, with mud, sand, water, straw, and then you also got the soldiers whipping the slaves by
Yes.
saying faster.
Yeah, they want to work fast, you know?
Yes, and it
Mm.
keeps going too.
Yeah, and this is the first musical number. By the way, this is written by Steven Schwartz, by the way. Steven Schwartz wrote the songs for this movie. And to anybody's knowledge on Steven Schwartz actually wrote the songs for Wicked. He was involved in the Wicked stage musical and the two Wicked movies as well.
Yep.
He also contributed to Disney as well, most notably with Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and of course the two Enchanted movies as well.
I mean that is impressive right there.
Yeah, and he wrote the music for the songs that he was doing, while Hans Zimmer was the music composer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so the first number is Deliver Us.
That's a way to open up the movie.
Yeah, that's one way to open up the movie. Showcasing of how rough the Hebrew slaves were being treated.
Yeah, they've been treating poorly
Yes.
and dying too, while also getting whipped.
Because this is basically the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh being stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Pharaoh is forcing the Hebrew slaves to work hard in desert heat,
Yeah, that is tough.
and they're calling upon and all the Hebrew slaves are calling upon God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and on this particular day, while the men are toiling on one side of the Nile River, on the other side of their homes, their homes were being raided by soldiers in the Egyptian army. They take infant boys from their mothers by force and kill them. That's the killing of the firstborns, right?
Of course, and of course we're also introduced to the mother too.
Yeah,
And
a Hebrew woman, Yocheved, steals away to the river with her baby and her two older children, where she sets the baby adrift in a reed basket, hoping and praying this will save her son. And if you also notice right away, you can definitely tell that the basket floating in the river is a mix of CGI and hand drawn animation.
yeah, I mean, I didn't know that was CGI.
It's blended so well. They blended that very well.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the daughter was also got involved too.
Yes, the daughter follows the basket.
Mm-hmm. And up until it ended up in the land of Egypt.
Yes, it ended up in the land of Egypt. It made a crazy journey down the river among both dangerous animals and large boats with several close calls. Eventually, it makes its way to the Pharaoh's palace, where his wife and young son, Ramses, play with a lotus flower.
And and the daughter was there too.
Yes, the daughter was there too. The queen finds and opens the basket. She looks at the baby with love and compassion, chooses to keep him, and names him Moses.
Moses.
Yep, Moses. Moses' sister Miriam, having followed the basket, sees this and prays that someday Moses will come back to deliver them from slavery.
I mean, the baby is safe.
Yes, the baby is safe. So anyway, just to move. So anyway, obviously enough, so basically, Marion is being voiced by Sandra Bullock, and then Marion's got a brother named Aaron, who is voiced by Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that's a pretty good cast right there.
That's a pretty good cast right there. I can't imagine Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum. I mean, any role he can take.
I'll take this role.
You know. Hey, he was in Jurassic Park, right?
Of course. And he was also the wizard in Wicked.
That's true. Don't forget, he was. Who was he in Thor?
Oh,
The Grandmaster.
the Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster. Yeah, there we go. The Grandmaster. Yeah. So anyway, and then of course, the Pharaoh Queen, Queen Tuya. If I'm saying her name right, hopefully I'm saying her name right. I do apologize if I butcher any of these names. So the Pharaoh, the Pharaoh's queen or Pharaoh's wife, I should say, is being voiced by Helen Mirren, while Patrick Stewart plays the actual Pharaoh Seti.
And then once the singing is done, we're in,
We're introduced to we see Moses as an adult, although it doesn't specify the age, by the way. But Moses and Ramses, both voiced by Val Kilmer and Ralph Fiennes. By the way, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. Like, he was definitely a great. He definitely played a real good Moses in this movie, and of course, a good Top Gun pilot.
Of course, and of course he would not only be remembered for Prince of Egypt nor Top Gun. He will forever be remembered as Batman in Batman Forever.
That's true. That's true. Batman Forever. That's another story.
And of course, around that time in the 2010s, Val Kilmer suffered from throat cancer.
That part is also true too, because apparently Val Kilmer had throat cancer, and apparently he died. He died. He died.
He died last year.
He died last year. I mean, there was definitely his immediate cause of death was listed as pneumonia. But yeah, he did have throat cancer, but also he died of pneumonia too.
But he was able to reprise his role as Iceman in Top Gun Maverick one last time.
Yes. So anyway, rest in peace to Val Kilmer though. And yes. So yeah, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. But anyway, let's move forward. Both Moses and Ramses have become rather reckless young men, much to the disdain of their father, Pharaoh Seti, voiced by Patrick Stewart. And of course, Moses in particular has a tendency for troublemaking, while Ramses, in turn, often finds himself entangled in his brother's foolish behavior, though he is generally more serious. They're racing on chariots.
Uh-huh.
I guess a callback to Ben-Hur, because there is a scene in Ben-Hur where, actually, funny enough, Charlton Heston is also in Ben-Hur. There is this chariot sequence where I guess is a race. I haven't seen that movie, but I'm aware of the chariot sequence that is in that movie, and that movie, a lot of people remember Ben-Hur for that chariot sequence.
And of course, Moses also said this to Ramses. Hey Ramses, how'd you like to have your face on that wall? while doing the chariot race.
Actually, come to think of it, I think I mean the Pharaoh's face was turned into a statue, so I guess it was already carved into a wall. I guess.
Yes, and Ramses says, "Someday, yes."
Mm-hmm.
And Moses says, "How about now?" While pushing.
He's trying to distract him.
Yeah, and Ramses says, "Moses, you almost killed me."
It's the banter between these two. Both Ramsey starts off as more of a good guy at one point in this movie.
Yes, but later down the line, he turns bad.
Yeah, he turns bad down the line. I think in this movie, he does turn out to be a pretty tragic villain in this movie.
Yes,
or sympathetic, I should say.
And of course, they're both into the city, still doing the chariot race, and they literally cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, technically, they did.
And of course, everything is all CGI.
Mm-hmm.
and also they're on this top of this statue of the pharaoh, and one of and one of the workers accidentally was hanging on to dear life after mistaking on the painting,
Yeah,
and of course the nose came off.
right. Yeah, isn't that's the pharaoh's nose, right?
Yes.
Who broke the pharaoh's nose?
Hmm. And I'll be honest, I feel like what really adds into the chariot scene is the musical score from Hans Zimmer.
Yes.
And I would say this is obviously one of Hans Zimmer's best scores that he had composed.
Yep, one of his best. Yeah. So anyway, after the damage to the temple statue that was under renovation through an especially foolhardy chariot race, Pharaoh reprimands his sons, especially Ramses, since he is next in line for the throne. When Ramses angrily says that one ruined temple won't undo centuries of tradition, Seti retorts, "But one weak link can break the chain of a mighty dynasty."
Oh my
That's
goodness.
what the Pharaoh Seti says.
Oh boy.
But this is also true too. Like I can see where Ramsey's coming from in this movie, where he says, like, look, one ruined temple won't undo centuries of tradition,
Of course.
I mean, sure, okay, yes. What they actually did was it did damage. Okay, yes, it damaged.
Yes.
It damaged. I mean, okay, sure, yes, it damaged. But I can see, yeah, it damaged. But could it be able to fix it too? Or at least try to put. I mean, I guess not. It's probably
No, of course not. And you also got two other characters showing up while having a conversation with the pharaoh.
right.
And I forgot their names. What are their names?
I think their names are Hotep and Hoy. I think Hotep and Hoy.
And they're voiced by Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Yes.
To which they're both actors, but they're also singers too.
Yes, both of these guys are singers, and they actually got a musical number, which is you're playing with the big boys now.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get to that. We'll get to that song later
We'll
on.
get to that song, yeah.
And actually, and they laughed, and they also says, "You don't have to be so hard on yourself. You're an excellent teacher. It's not your fault that your sons learn nothing." And I also love the part that Hopetep says, "Well, they learned blasphemy."
Oh, wow. Or maybe how about this? Warriors knocked those jockeys did a fast speed chariot race and knocked over a statue temple. I'm on someone's bottom right now. I
And of course getting bumped.
And of course, somebody getting bumped and knocking over the Nile water off the trace.
Yeah, twice.
Yes, but that's stretching it right there.
Well, that about do it for the chariot race.
But anyway, after he dismissed Ramses, leaves in indignation and shame, Moses asks Pharaoh why is he so hard on Ramses, especially since he knows Moses is the most responsible for the damage. Yeah, Moses is technically the one responsible for it.
Yes.
Technically he got the both, but Pharaoh decided to go after Ramses. Like, reprimanding Ramses for the most part. Like, I get that he is second in line, but couldn't you just look at him as a normal human being for once instead of, like, next in line for the throne?
Yeah.
I mean, look at these guys as regular human beings, okay? Yes, they were reckless. Both Ramses and Moses should deserve the blame. We're talking about in this movie, just in this movie, okay?
Yes.
Just this movie. Both of these guys definitely deserve the blame, all right?
All right.
Instead of Ramses deserving all the blame. I get that he's next in line, but still look at him as a regular human being, just, they're both being reckless. Okay, both of these guys deserve the blame.
Mm-hmm.
That would make much more sense instead of Ramsey deserving all the blame.
Yeah. And of course, there's also a hidden detail too.
Yeah, when Moses not technically Moses, but when the Pharaoh is talking to Moses, Pharaoh is standing right next to his temple statue, right?
It looks exactly like him.
It does. I feel like it's kind of like it's basically, symbolizing, his power, right? His power to rule Egypt, right?
Yes, but of
But
course,
also the duties and responsibilities.
yes, and of course, there's also something else too that Moses didn't even realize.
What?
Yeah, like somewhere towards like in the dream sequence.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that
Yeah,
soon.
we'll get to that soon. But also, here's something else. The reason why Pharaoh was so hard on Ramses because he needs to be trained to never turn away from his responsibilities and traditions, even if Moses is the one trying to lead him astray. Moses declares his confidence in Ramses' seriousness and devotion, and informs Seti that he just needs an opportunity to prove himself. So that explains why the Pharaoh is so hard on Ramses and why Ramses is getting most of the blame. But like I said, both Moses and Ramses deserve the blame.
Yes.
Both of these deserve the blame. Both of these guys deserve the blame. Just because someone is next in line for the throne, that doesn't mean one person gets all the blame.
Yeah, no one.
No, that doesn't mean that. I feel like in hindsight for this movie, in hindsight for this movie, Ramses and Moses both deserve the blame. Okay, I mean, just my opinion. Just my opinion for this movie.
And of course, Patrick Stewart. I actually like Patrick Stewart.
Yeah,
in his
he
voice work.
definitely did pretty good voicing the Pharaoh in this movie. I mean, it's Patrick Stewart. He's definitely got the voice.
He does.
So anyway, let's move forward. Moses proposes to Seti that the high priest Hotep and Hoi, who just like the two brothers, by the way,
And of course, Moses throws some fills in a bag, fills the wine in the bag, and he drops it into Hotep and Hoy.
Yeah,
And they were like, and they all think it was Ramses who did it.
but no, it was Moses.
And they were like, Ramses, they're in trouble. Come down here and apologize.
So anyway, they should offer tribute to the new regent. He agrees, and the two priests decide to offer a beautiful young woman named Zephora, and Zephora is voiced by Michelle Pfeiffer,
Mm-hmm.
who is a Midianite slave girl who had been captured recently. Though they refer to her as a delicate desert flower, she proves to be anything but gentle.
Well, I don't think she wasn't gentle at first.
Well, she'll have the claw. Well, she's got. Well, the claws are out. I'll say that.
But
well,
more like a desert cobra.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, afraid at first and angry, she nearly bites Ramsey's hand when he gets far too close. So he offers her to Moses instead. Though he tries to decline as Ramses push him towards her. She also defies him and insults him. Ramses laughs and asks, "Are you going to let her talk to you like that?"
Oh my goodness.
Moses responds by warning her to show the proper respect for a prince of Egypt. She replies, "But I am showing you all the respect you deserve." None.
Wow. That's what she said, right?
Yeah, that's what she says.
Oh my goodness.
None.
None. Moses did made out with
Zephora.
Sephora, but we will definitely get to that soon.
Yes. So anyway, she yanks the rope tied to her wrist from Hotep's hands, but Moses grabs the rope before she can attempt to escape. She pulls as hard as she can and demands to be set free. Noticing an indoor pond behind her, Moses says, "As you wish," and lets go abruptly, causing her to trip and fall into it. The whole room erupts into laughter, except for the queen, who turns her face away in shame. Moses sees this and stops laughing, ashamed that he disappointed his mother.
Oh. Not good.
Yeah, you know it's bad enough when you have a mother who's being voiced by Helen Mirren, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, after ordering a nearby servant to send Zephora to Moses' chambers, Ramses declares, "If it pleases you, father, my first act as regent is to appoint Moses as royal chief architect." As he says this, he takes a blue scarab ring from his hand and gives it to Moses. The hall congratulates him with cheers and applause, but as he inspects the ring with gratitude, he notices Sephora on her way out glaring at him intensely. It is clear from his facial expression that Moses is not looking forward to that night with her.
Oh.
Yeah, technically Moses embarrassed her.
Not good.
Not good.
But she actually escaped,
Yes, she did.
and a man was tied the same along with these two dogs.
Yeah.
There's also two dogs in there. Yeah, there's a man and two dogs.
Oh, yeah. Two Egyptian dogs, huh?
Yeah. He sees her trying to escape, and the guards almost see the camel and Zipporah.
Yeah.
And but up until Moses says, "Guards." You see those two guards,
Mm-hmm.
and Moses says, "There's a man tied in my room. Can I go up and see it for yourself?" Sure, right away. To distract as a distraction.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's yeah, you know he did that for distraction.
Yes, and Sephora did escape.
Yeah, Sephora escaped after the banquet's end. Moses nervously enters his room, seeing someone seated on his bed behind a curtain. He composes himself and pulls it back. Turns out to be a servant. Sephora had tied him up thoroughly. Yeah, exactly like you said. Caesar sneaking out quietly with a camel and supplies, climbs down the sheep rope, notices a couple of guards about to cross paths with her. You said it best already.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we're also introduced to Miriam and Aaron. Is that right?
Yeah, Miriam and Aaron, both voiced by Sandra Bullock and Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, I didn't even know that was Sandra Bullock in it.
I don't know that either.
What a great cast they got.
Yeah, they got a good cast in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway, Moses goes to watch Sephora leave, clearly captivated by her. The Hebrew woman recognizes him. She says that she is his sister, Miriam, and that the man, Aaron, is his brother. She assumes that he knows they are his older siblings and that he has come to see them at last.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron tries to prevent Miriam from speaking to Moses because he can see that Moses had no idea who they are and would end up punishing them for these assertions. He does this by claiming that Miriam is delusional. First, because of fatigue from the daily labors, not that it was too much, they quite enjoyed it, and then later because she is mentally ill. Miriam angrily denies these claims and insists that Moses is their brother. Moses is incensed at her words, but Miriam relates how their mother, Yocheved, set him adrift in the basket on the Nile River to save his life.
I mean, that is true. It's true. He was saved. He was floating the river
Mm-hmm.
as a baby in this basket carriage.
Yeah. So,
But he doesn't remember. But did he? Oh. But and of course, Miriam was so excited that she finally meets her brother.
Yes.
And she's so excited. She was like, "Oh my goodness, it's you. You're Moses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad to see you."
But anyway, confused, he asks from whom. She answers, "Ask the man that you call father." Truly angered by this, he approaches her as she claims that God chose him to deliver the Hebrews out of slavery. He grabs her arm and throws her to the ground, saying, "You will regret this night."
Oh.
One wrong move right there.
Yep.
That was I thought the chariot race was worse.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, and of course, look at this. This like single. It's like you like a copy and paste from the beginning,
I
just
think
like
they recycled that same shot. I think they recycled that same shot.
well, from the mother, like from Moses' mom,
Yes.
and now it's his sister.
Yes.
That looks exactly like the mom.
Wow, they kind of did. Wow, they do look similar.
With the tear coming with the teardrop.
Yeah. I think they recycled that same scene, but instead of the mom, it's the sister.
Yes, and I feel like Moses is starting to understand.
He's starting to pick up the. He's starting to realize, but Moses goes back.
Yes, he goes back.
So despairing Marion starts to sing Yochev's lullaby to Moses that she's saying as she set him in the basket. Walking away, Moses stops because he begins to recognize the song he had been whistling the tune the previous day. As he turns back around to look at Marion, he realizes that she was telling the truth. Shocked from hearing this, Moses runs back to the palace in denial, you know?
Yes, he denied it.
Denial like the Nile, right?
Mm-hmm. And there's also another song called All I Ever Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's a short song. He went back to his room, and he see those two Egyptian dogs.
Yeah.
They're both happy to see Moses.
Yeah.
And then he picks up one of those sickles.
Yeah.
And he's like ready. He's about ready to do his business. Like you know.
Yeah. Business. Yeah. So anyway,
But unfortunately, he went to sleep.
yeah.
He went to sleep, and I'll be honest, the art design is. I don't know how they did that, but that is amazing right there.
Yeah, but apparently he has a nightmare. He
Yeah.
has a nightmare or possibly a vision showing that what happened the day of which Miriam spoke, including the deaths of the Hebrew infants thrown into the Nile River to drown and be eaten by crocodiles.
I'm pretty sure those are CGI.
I think it's a mix of CG. I think they mixed it with CGI, but the imagery alone is pretty creepy too.
Yes.
Like it is so creep. It is creepy because because the hieroglyphics are basically telling the story of how like Pharaoh Seti is giving the orders to go after the firstborns, right? The firstborns.
Oh no.
And and Moses is seeing all of this inside the hieroglyphics as if he was there.
Yes, and Hans Zimmer's score plays a haunting vibe to it.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, is there anything we need to say about Hans Zimmer?
Not that I can say at this moment, but you know what? He definitely put in a pretty creepy score for that.
He did, and he also got nominated for an Oscar too.
Yeah, he did. And when Moses wakes in horror, he searches the palace for evidence of this terrible event. It is still nighttime, and he eventually finds a large relief mural with hieroglyphics showing and declaring the death of the Hebrew baby boys by the command of the man he called father. Presumably, having been awaked by the torchlight passing through the halls, Pharaoh Seti approaches him and explains that this was an unwilling precaution on his part to keep the slaves from over multiplying and uprising. He says, Moses, sometimes for the greater good, sacrifices must be made. He's destroying lives.
Yes,
All the lives of the firstborn sons. Like that is evil.
yes, and look at it. Look at his eyes.
Yeah, and when he opens his eyes are wide. Like how he like his eyes wide. His eyes go wide open. That
Yes.
really tells you that this dude is evil.
Yes, and the found yes, he gives him a hug, but he also said this too.
Mm-hmm.
They were only slaves.
Only slaves.
Oh no!
However, because of his newfound knowledge of his Hebrew origins, this drives Moses away from him for good. He leaves Seti's embrace and runs out into the night.
Oh no! Oh no! This did not end well for
Oh no!
Pharaoh,
Oh no! This did not end well for him.
especially for his life.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is not good.
that is not good at all. And early that morning, Moses' adopted mother finds him sitting by the river where she found him in the basket all those years ago, confronting her about his origin, saying, and he says sadly, "So everything I thought, everything I am, is a lie." She responds, "No, you are our son, and we love you," asking why she took him in. She says she didn't. She expresses her belief that he was truly sent by the gods, saying, here the river brought you, and it's here the river meant to be your home." She embraces him, hoping to comfort and reassure him of their love for him.
Yeah.
However, as Ramses presents his new renovation plan to the high priest for the temple he and Moses ruined the previous day,
Yeah.
right? After the whole chariot sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Moses is deeply unsettled by everything. He is only paying attention to the Hebrews as if noticing them and their sufferings for the first time. He is especially racked with guilt because they are cleaning up the destruction he caused. As he sadly watches them, he soon observes one of them being whipped violently and repeatedly. It is an old man who is having difficulty with his heavy burdens. He notices Miriam and Aaron working near the man, with Aaron holding her back from trying to interfere. Here, Moses fully accepts who he is, and being moved with anger and pain, he runs to stop the cruel overseer from beating the man.
I mean, that is so dark too.
That is dark too. While Ramses is having this conversation with the high priest, right?
Yes.
And Ramses turned around, sees what Moses is doing, and he was like, "Moses!"
Yes, and Moses says, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop! Leave that man alone!"
But of course, Moses he runs over, and the Hebrews stand back in fear, except for Miriam, who calls his name and takes his arm to calm him down, but he pulls it away and keeps running. And this was after he pushes it. He pushed. This is after he pushed that one guard off off a high scaffold to his death.
Oh my goodness, that was dark.
That was dark. Like Moses killed a man.
Yes. Yes, and it's all thanks to Hans Zimmer's musical score in the background.
Yes.
That really adds in the tension
Mm-hmm.
to the guard's death. And then the one guard sees everything, and he sees the dead body, and he says, "Who did this?" And
Everyone looked up.
Yes, it was Moses.
It says, "It's him up there."
Yes, and Moses is guilty.
He feels real guilty.
I
Like
mean,
he didn't. I don't think he meant any harm. He was trying to stop the guy from whipping the old man.
yes, and I'm pretty sure that left a few scars on the old man's back.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, like Moses killed a man.
I mean, he didn't mean to.
I mean, he didn't mean any harm. I mean, he wasn't really expecting it at all. He was just trying to stop that confrontation. So apparently intercepted by Ramses, who grabs him and asks him what's going on. However, he pushes him aside and continues to run. He nearly makes it out of the city before Ramses catches up to him on his chariot. Moses exclaims, "You saw what happened. I just killed a man." Ramses. Ramses claims he will make it so it never happened. However, Moses refuses to accept any more lies about his life. Because of his disgust at both his killing of the overseer and his past unconcern towards the slaves, and because he knew he has neither power nor moral authority to free the slaves, he ignores Ramses' pleas. He tells Ramses he could no longer remain in Egypt. When Ramses attempts to stop him, Moses grabs his shoulders and shouts, "No! Everything I have ever known to be true is a lie. I'm not who you think I am. Asking what he means by that, Moses simply answers, Go ask the man I once called father.
Oh my goodness.
Turning to leave, Moses stops when his brother pleads with him to remain, but Moses only says goodbye, brother, and runs with Ramses calling his name.
Oh.
Actually, come to think of it, that comes back later.
Yes.
That comes back. Like you can definitely tell that they both care for each other.
Yeah, they're brothers.
They're basically brothers, but apparently, what Moses discovered, he sees the truth now.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the truth of what the Pharaoh was up to.
Yes. This did not end well for the Pharaoh.
No, it didn't.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, Ramses is calling out for Moses. He says, "Moses!"
Especially at the end.
Yeah. So yeah, he runs away, wanders far into the desert after several days, famished from lack of food and water. He stubs his toe and breaks his sandal, angrily discards them and the rest of his royal ornaments, except for the ring given to him by Ramses. A sandstorm soon overtakes him, and he surrenders himself to it. However, he survives. A camel pulls his head out of the sand, thinking his hair was grass.
Nope, it was not grass.
Nope, it was hair.
Yep, but up until the camel spit it out.
Yep. He notices the camel is saddled and holds a water pouch. He digs himself out hastily and tries to take some of the water, but he only has enough energy to loop his arm around the pouch before passing out. Fortunately, the camel drags him to a large well with some troughs, where he gorges himself on the liquid goodness within, much to the surprise of a nearby sheep. Soon after he arrives, Moses observes some bandits attempting to steal water from three young girls. Moses manages to drive the bandits away by sending their camels on the run, but in his exhaustion, he falls down the well by chance.
And I also love the part where Moses was having water and the sheep's reaction. Oh my goodness, I love the sheep's reaction. The sheep was so surprised that there was a man drinking. and of course, especially the part where he let the two camels go.
So, anyway, the three girls, in fact, turns out to be Sephora's younger sisters, who are unable to get Moses out of the well until she comes along. Thinking they are only playing around after the youngest says they are trying to get the funny man out of the well. She's surprised to hear him struggling as they attempt to pull him out. She hurriedly informs him they will get him out soon and pulls him up in a few seconds. However, once she realizes it's Moses, she drops him back down the well as retaliation for embarrassing her at the banquet several nights ago. Yep,
Yeah.
this is done in relatively good nature though, as she is aware of his help in her escape. It is assumed that she pulls him back out shortly after. As she swaggers away, her two youngest sisters look to the third one for explanation. She answers, This is why Papa says she will never get married. Oh, wow.
Wow.
The wow. That is savage.
That is a savage moment right there.
Yeah.
And of course, they were able to get Moses out of the well.
Yeah, they got Moses out of the well. So apparently, um, and this is where he also he meets Sephora's father, by the way,
Je- Jethro.
Jethro, who is actually voiced by Danny Glover, I believe.
I did not recognize Danny Glover.
Yeah,
First.
yeah, it is Danny Glover. Yeah, Danny Glover plays Jethro.
Yeah, I mean, he played good Jethro too.
Yeah, and he's the high priest of Midian, who holds a celebration in thanks for what Moses has done. And Moses claims that his past actions and inaction make him unworthy of any honor. Sephora is surprised by his great change in attitude since they first met. However, Jethro refuses to believe his claim, referring to how Moses helped get all of his daughters out of perilous situations. He informs Moses that if he wants to see what his life is worth, he needs to view his life through heaven's eyes, which he eventually does. Moses grows to become a member of Jethro's tribe, working with Zipporah and her sisters as a shepherd. Over time, he and Sephora become friends, fall in love, and get married.
Yeah, I mean, wow, look, Batman and Catwoman together.
Although not the Michael Keaton Batman.
Nope.
Yes, Val Kilmer and Michelle Pfeiffer were in the Batman movies, but Michelle Pfeiffer was in the Tim Burton Batman movies as Catwoman, where Michael Keaton was Batman, and Val Kilmer was in Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever.
Yep.
And yes, we all know the infamous Batman and Robin. I am well aware of that. I am well aware of that, but of course, Joel Schumacher did Batman Forever with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
That one was okay.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, but that's another story. That is another story for another day. But anyway, okay, so anyway, one day or who knows how many years, I mean, give or take. While chasing a stray lamb, Moses discovers a cavern with a bush that burned in a way he has never seen before with an unusual fire that didn't scorch. The bush then speaks, revealing that it is the voice and presence of God, who actually is voiced by Val Kilmer, by the way.
And I'm pretty sure he was uncredited for the voice role of God.
Maybe so, I don't know. But God has heard the cries of the Israelites. When Moses nervously asks what is wanted of him, the voice says that he has chosen Moses to deliver the Hebrews out of slavery, just as his sister Miriam had declared by speaking to Pharaoh the words which he will be taught to say. Moses, as at first apprehensive, given that that he was the son of Pharaoh, the man who murdered the children of the slaves. However, the voice commands Moses to go forth, promising to smite Egypt with his wonders when Pharaoh will not listen. And don't forget, he did say the lines, I am that I am.
Yes.
So God promises to be with Moses. Afterwards, God's presence departs, leaving the bush no longer alight. Did you notice that the bush is more it's not a fiery bush, but I mean it still has that fiery presence, but it has more of a northern lights type of shine to it,
Yeah.
or type of burn to it. It's more elegant.
Mm-hmm.
It has a more elegant feel to it. So anyway, afterwards, God's presence departs, leaving the bush no longer alight. During this conversation, Moses' attitude and feelings go from shame and fear to peace, confidence, and joy. So Moses returns to Sephora and excitedly informs her of what transpired in the cave and what he has been asked to do. Since she is overcome at first by the immensity of the task given him, and he informs of his desire to see his people free, like her family is free. She lays aside her fears for him and decides to accompany him back to his former home. Upon reaching the palace, Moses finds that his father and mother presumably is dead, and Ramses has become the new pharaoh, married with a son of his own.
That's their firstborn son.
Yep, the two brothers greet each other joyfully, with Ramses eager to welcome Moses back, forgiving the events that drove him away and seemingly ignoring his Hebrew origins. Like the scene when they both see each other for the first time, it's like a heartwarming moment. It's like,
Yes.
as if these brothers haven't seen each other in a long time. I mean, obviously.
Yes, but of course things started to turn around.
Things started to turn around because now both of these guys have different viewpoints now, right?
Yes.
But anyway, Moses hesitantly explains that things cannot return to how they once were and requests that Ramses let the slaves go free, as requested by God. Moses then demonstrates God's power as his wooden staff becomes a snake. Like he holds the staff out, right? So he holds his staff right in front of Ramses, tells him, "Behold, the power of God." And the staff turns into a snake, right?
Yeah, I mean, wow. I don't know how did they did that.
I don't know, Mike. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
That's definitely true.
But other than that, Ramses Ramses is impressed with it, and he's like, "Impressive. Okay, you have your power. I'll show you mine. Hotep, hoy, give this snake charmer our answer."
And this is where playing with the big boys, playing with the big boys song comes in.
Yeah, like he plays along and has Hotep and Hoy conjure their own magic, which is consists of convincing showmanship. This impresses the rest of Ramses' court, but not Moses or Sephora. But this is like, yeah, the song is basically you're playing with the big boys, and technically this is a villain song.
Yeah,
It's a villain song, both, and they're both sung. I mean, Steve Martin and Martin Short sing this song, and they're naming out all the other Egyptian gods. Right?
Oh my god.
They're naming out all the Egyptian gods as Ramses sits and watch. The imagery the imagery and silhouette shots of different gods that are being shown, like they're being shown through different creatures, right?
Yes.
And it is a creepy imagery, but it adds a villainous twist to it, knowing that yeah, Ramses is not what he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there is another song that got even darker too.
Yeah, but Hotep and Hoy, they're being really villainous. Like you like they're basically trying to tempt Moses, right?
Yes.
They're trying to like, hey, stop this foolish mission. Watch a true magician.
Yes. Of course. And they both did a fantastic job with this song.
Mm-hmm. This is like, you can tell that Moses is seeing all this. He's not impressed with it. Like he's been there before, right?
Yes, he has been. He
Mm-hmm.
has he was there before when he was little.
You hear the two telling Moses to pick up your silly twig, boy. You're playing with the big boys now. Like, like they call his staff a silly twig. It's in the form of a snake, and he's like, "Who you calling silly?"
Yeah. Who you calling silly?
Yep. Well, I guess his staff could go full on Cobra Kai on those snakes.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but yeah, Hotep and Hoy's staffs turn into snakes too, and in the Ten Commandments movie, it happens too, but there's no musical number, right?
No.
And Moses' staff or snake, I should say, or is it it's probably a cobra.
It probably is a cobra, but
It eats the snakes. It eats the two snakes, which it does, and we fully see that in animation through
wow.
a silhouette shot. It's like, yeah, the song ends with of Moses' snake eating the two other snakes. It's like, hey, Moses, I just ate Hotep and Hoy's snakes.
Yeah.
Who's playing with the big boys now? Mm-hmm. But Ramses, like, he's still in denial of all this, right? He's like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm not buying this. You know, he's not buying that Moses' God is God, right?
Uh-huh.
He's not buying into that.
And they were able to have a conversation again, and of course, Ramses has that ring with the blue diamond,
Right.
and of course, he's full of stubborn and
He is stubborn pride, right? He has full he's basically stubborn and full of pride. And Moses is frustrated by Ramses' refusal to acknowledge the humanity of the slaves. Relation to them and the sins of Seti. Moses declared that he can no longer hide in the desert while his people suffer. He returns the royal ring that Ramses had given him so long ago. Ramses is saddened, then angered that Moses came back for the Hebrews and not for him. He declares that he does not acknowledge his brother's God and refuses to allow the Hebrews to leave. Moses pleads for his brother to reconsider, but Ramses claims he will not be the weak link in his family's dynasty, showing that Seti was successful in setting Ramses on an alterable path.
Oh no.
He then orders the workload doubled for the slaves out of spite.
Oh my goodness.
Like, are you kidding me? This is the conversation, right? This is the same this is the conversation. This is now where Ramses becomes the villain this time, right?
Yes.
This is where he's the villain now.
He is. He is the a DreamWorks animated villain.
Yeah.
And Ralph Finesse, that was a good choice. That was a good casting choice.
Mm-hmm.
And Ralph Finesse did a very good job lending his voice to Ramses.
Yeah. Like, this is where, like, of course, don't forget, like, Ramsey straight up says, like, I do not know this God.
And he
Neither will let your people go.
Yeah. Oh.
Ramses, please, you must listen. I will not be the weak link.
Yeah.
He tells that to Moses. That's where Seti Pharaoh said to Ramses too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all coming back. Now it's Ramses following his father's footsteps
to a dark path.
Yes.
And that is not a good sign either.
Yeah, not a good sign either. Several of the slaves, including his brother Aaron, shunned Moses because of the extra workload and a doubt that God called Moses to deliver them or even cares for them. However, Miriam harbors no grudge towards her brother, claiming that God saved Moses from all his trials and adversity for a purpose. This encourages Moses to not give up. On the Nile River near them, Moses sees Ramses, his son Hotep and Hoi, on a royal barge. Makes me wonder, where's his wife?
Yeah.
Like, his wife in the original Ten Commandments movie is Nefertiri.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see Nefertiri at all in this movie at all. I mean, I guess she's probably back in the palace.
Yeah. Also, and of course, Moses and Aaron were also having a conversation too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Aaron says, "Well, we didn't wish to see. Well, that makes everything fine then, doesn't it? Doesn't it?" But Miriam was like, "Aaron, shame on you."
You know, because Aaron's trying to put shame onto Moses.
Yes. I mean, wow, that's not good.
That's not good at all. And we go right away to the plagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go right away to the plagues on this. So the 10 plagues. So anyway, Ramses. So Moses approaches them and shouts for Ramses to let his people go. Ramses scoffs at this and sends his guards after him until Moses places his staff in the water, turning the Nile to blood. And he hears this from God's voice, right?
Yeah.
He tells Moses, take the staff, place it in the water, and the river turns into blood. It dyes red, right?
Yes, and it's all CGI.
Yeah, it's completely CGI. Even the sun was like, what is this?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And the guards are like, blood!
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 And the guards run away like cowards back to Ramses. And Ramses is like, Ramses disgusted by this, and he asks Hotep and Hoi, what's the meaning of this?
Sure, Your Majesty, we're going to demonstrate the superior might of our gods.
Right, and he puts red powder in the bowl of water, calls upon one of the gods, and the water turns into what I guess kind of looks almost resembles blood, but it looks more orange to me.
Yeah.
red orange, right?
Mm-hmm.
And both and Ramsey was like, okay, abandon this. Well, Moses, I suggest you abandon this futile mission. I have indulged you long enough. Actually, if you pay attention to when Moses is standing in the water, the blood, there you see a clear circle. You see a clear water circle around Moses, right?
Yeah.
You see how clear the water is on Moses' side? It's all in a circle, right? While the rest is pure blood,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it shows you that Moses is following God, right?
Yes. While Ramses
Is not.
is not. He's just following in the dark footsteps.
And you know what? I got a feeling too. This is just my interpretation, but I feel like the blood in the water resembles the blood that Ramses has. The blood that Ramses had, the blood that the pharaohs had done. You know,
Yep.
to the newborn infants, right? Going into the Nile, the blood in the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it almost symbolizes like the blood on Ramses' hands going into the river.
At least there's no now crocodiles in the background.
Nope, there are no Nile crocodiles, right? Nope,
Mm-hmm.
there are no Nile crocodiles at this point. Not in this movie, at least. Well, actually, maybe at the beginning, but still, though, there are Nile crocodiles in the Nile, though.
And of course,
But not in that scene, though.
no.
So anyway, Aaron claims that nothing will help them. And like Aaron's like, but Moses, what we're gonna do? You know the Pharaoh Ramses. You know how powerful this guy is. You know how
Uh.
you know how powerful this guy is. But Moses promises that God will see to it that they are made free. However, this leads into another musical number, which is the plagues.
Yes, and another one was really the amphibians.
The amphibians, which we see are frogs.
Yes, and then you also see the bugs coming out.
Coming out, right?
Li-
Like a series of plagues begin to befall Egypt, each more ferociously destructive than the last. Locusts destroy crops. The Egyptians come down with terrible sores on their skin, and fire rains down from the sky. You know, hail of fire. You know, almost resembles the hellfire coming down from the sky,
yes,
right?
yes, it is hell. It is hell right now.
It is hell in Egypt for that. It is hell in Egypt during that scene. Even with all these events and several more, which he mages prove powerless to encounter, Ramsey still refuses to give in to Moses' request. And he banishes Hotep and Hoi from the palace for their deceptions. Moses and Ramses are both frustrated with each other, and many monuments, statues, and structures become damaged or destroyed. Right?
yes,
Like the musical number throughout this musical number, it is a dark music. It is a dark scene. Like Moses is like the first, like the lyrics you hear is basically, hey, the lyrics you hear from Moses is, once I called you brother, once I thought the chance to make you laugh was all I ever wanted.
yes,
And even now, I wish that God had chose another. Serving as your foe on his behalf is the last thing that I wanted. And he even said that this was his home, right?
yes. This was his home.
This was his home. All this pain and devastation, how it tortures Moses inside all the innocent who suffer from your stubbornness and pride.
And then you also got the other bugs coming
All
in.
the other bugs coming in, the locusts.
The locusts.
Yep, and of course, like Ramses just sits there in complete denial and anger, right? And all the soul, and you see, and all of his men, including himself, are getting these boils on their backs.
Yes, and, yes, and Moses Ramses is still in denial.
He's still in denial, and it's like, and Moses is like, "Let my people go, thus said the Lord."
And of course
Hotep and Hoi leave, right?
pretty sure that's the end of them.
Yep. And even Ramsey sings along too. This is like He's like, you I called brother. How could you have come to hate his soul? Is this what you wanted?
Yes, all the fire came down.
Then let my heart be hardened, and never mind how high the cosmic road. This will still be so. I will never let your people go. Thus save the Lord, thus save the Lord. I will not let your people go. Like, that is a musical number. This is like, two brothers going at it, right? Both these guys have different viewpoints, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys have different viewpoints, but Moses is trying to, it's not like Moses is not just trying to save the Hebrews, but I guess he was trying to save his brother too.
Yes.
Come to think of it,
But
because his brother's going down a dark path to sin.
mm-hmm. And this is the moment that Moses and Ramses won't be able to let go of.
Right. And soon after the land is covered in darkness, except for where the Hebrews live, Moses goes to see his brother once again to convince him to let the Hebrews go. As they talk, Ramses eventually opens up, they reminiscent on their past, and a flicker of mutual brotherly love seems almost rekindled. Until Ramses' son comes in and demands to know if Moses is the reason for what has befallen Egypt. With his son close by, Ramses once again sheds his friendlier side and acts as Pharaoh. Moses explains that the plagues would end if Ramses would just fulfill his request and says something even more terrifying will happen if he doesn't, pleading for Ramses to think of his son. Ramses says he does and proposes that he will finish the job that his father was not able to do, promising a greater massacre among the slaves than ever before. Horrified at Ramses' murderous defiance with this threat to his people, Moses calmly but sadly notes that what is to come will be Ramses' responsibility.
And of course, there's a little hidden detail, like Ramses was pointing just like the Pharaoh does.
Yeah, under the hieroglyphics.
Yes.
And also to note too, there's another detail too. Once his son came in, right?
Yes.
I could be wrong. I think he was like underneath. There's another detail too. The murder of the firstborn son. And his son is right between the two crocodiles, right?
Oh no.
That foreshadows the death of his firstborn son.
Yeah, that is not good.
That is not a good sign. That's all because Ramses couldn't let the Hebrew slaves go.
Yeah.
And it is a good detail. It foreshadows the death of his son. But not in the Nile River, though.
Nope. And of course, there's also the 10th plague.
Yeah, this is the 10th plague. The killing of the firstborn sons, as everyone puts lamb's blood on the front side of their doors.
Why is that?
Because the angel of death because the angel of death in that very scene was coming by to, kill the firstborn sons if there are no lamb's blood on the front side of their doors. But with the blood with the lamb's blood on the doors, they're protected.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure everything was quiet.
Everything was quiet. It was only sound from the angel of death.
Yeah, I don't know what sound they did,
It's
but
probably a wind.
yeah,
Kind of like a wind, like a wind like noise. And it killed that the whole angel of death killed killed Pharaoh's firstborn son. Like it goes straight into the temple. I mean, sure, yeah, it goes into other houses too, but obviously the final nail in the coffin was basically Pharaoh's firstborn son,
yes,
Ramses' firstborn son.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that is dark too.
That is a dark moment. It is sad too. And Moses is at first distraught because of all who have died, among many other things. But Marian encourages him, saying, or singing rather, how at long last the Hebrews and any who will go with them are finally having their prayers answered and their faith affirmed. Sephora also tells how her own faith has grown, and the three of them, with Aaron, led the exodus of the slaves. But of course, Moses has one final conversation with the Ramses.
especially after the death of his firstborn son. And this was a sad moment.
Yeah, this is a sad moment. It's like Ramses is defeated. He is upset, but he's also angry too that this happened. Moses goes to his brother at this after this whole after the angel of death, amidst the mourning of the Egyptians, and is at last given permission to take the slaves.
And well, before that, Moses was trying to to confront Ramses, but Ramses says, "Leave me,"
Mm-hmm.
because Ramses is so sad and angry too.
Because this was his only son. He lost his only son. I mean, I can't blame him for being upset, though. I mean, I can't blame him, but at the same time, though, Ramses is responsible for the death. For is sort of kind of responsible. So to come to think of it, though,
Yeah,
you know, if he only let the Hebrew slaves go at the very first moment, none of this would happen.
exactly.
None of this would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Ramses, full of stubbornness and pride, did not listen.
No, but and everyone is starting to leave.
This is where the Exodus comes in. This is the Exodus. Sephora also tells how her own faith has grown in the three of them, with Aaron led the exodus of the slaves. Most of the people are still somewhat in shock, but as they make their way out of Egypt, their spirits are lifted. After they finally reach the Red Sea, the watchman's horn is sounded behind them, and they see that has gathered his army of chariots to kill the slaves out of revenge. There appears to be no place for them to run. Suddenly, a pillar of fire descends from the heavens, separating the Hebrews and Ramses' army. Moses then walks a short distance into the Red Sea, and with his staff parts the waters. At first, the people are afraid to pass through, and probably afraid of Moses, but having overcome all his previous doubts, Aaron goes forward, encouraging the others to do likewise.
Yes, and of course, Ramses and all the guards came in.
Yes.
They're trying to stop them and kill them all.
Yep.
And of course, with the dark clouds and thunder coming in, you see the fire coming out from the Red Sea.
Yes. I mean that's the pillar of fire.
This has caused them distraction.
Yeah, to distract them. And this is an amazing. You know what? As amazing the visuals are in the original for the original Red Sea, as amazing as the visuals are for the Red Sea in the original Ten Commandments, the Red Sea for the Prince of Egypt was absolutely breathtaking.
Yes,
And atmospheric too.
of course. And of course, Moses walks into the Red Sea.
Yes.
He picks up his staff and he listens to God.
Mm-hmm. The moment when he splits the Red Sea, like it is breathtaking. So God told Moses, "Take my staff and do my wonders."
Yes, there we go.
You know, this is like creating a miracle, splitting the Red Sea. That is a breathtaking moment, and like, oh my goodness, the splitting of the Red Sea in the Prince of Egypt. Like, I am not gonna lie, the animation, the water visual and animation for this is absolutely breathtaking.
They actually took their time with it.
That one they actually did, yeah. I don't know how many years it took for them to animate that, but my goodness, it paid off.
That is breathtaking.
Breathtaking. I think this moment alone tops the. I think that moment alone tops the other Red Sea from the original Ten Commandments movie.
Yes.
I think that moment tops the 1956 Ten Commandments Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The original Red Sea from the Ten Commandments is good, but this one from the Prince of Egypt, whole another level.
Uh-huh. And of course, they were all able to walk in the Red Sea.
Yes, they all walked. They all walked into the Red Sea.
But unfortunately, Ramses wasn't giving up.
No, Ramses didn't give up.
And he starts to like follow the Red Sea.
Yeah,
But with the stubbornness and pride he has, they all started to charge.
they all started the charge. Yeah,
Yes, and of course they all fell down.
yeah.
So all the horses and chariots are broken.
All yeah, and one's like all yeah.
All horses are starting to run away.
Uh-huh.
And of course Ramses says, "Don't just stand there, kill them."
He's doing this out of vengeance.
Yes.
He's trying to get revenge.
And Moses says, "The soldiers, they're coming for us." So yeah, those soldiers are coming for them. They're going to kill them all.
Thankfully, Moses was able to close the Red Sea.
Uh-huh. Yes, and they were able and Moses was able to close them all.
Yeah,
And and of course, it literally wiped all the soldiers.
it wiped all the soldiers. Like all the soldiers were swept away in the Red Sea, including Ramses, who was sent back up to shore.
Yes, and I mean, he's not dead.
No, he's not dead. But even then, he's like, he is back on the other side. And of course, Moses hears Ramses scream.
Yes, I mean,
Like he hears Ramses calling out Moses' name, saying, Moses! Moses! But apparently, Moses says goodbye to him.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this didn't end well for Ramses.
No, but it is tragic, though, right? It is very tragic, right?
Yes, it's sad to see his brother go.
It's really sad. It is sad because like both Ramses and Moses at the beginning of the movie, they look like good brothers, right?
But they turn into like
They have different viewpoints now. Moses is trying to lead a better path, while Ramses is trying to follow in his father's footsteps. And Ramses, while as evil as he is, he's not inherently evil, but as a deeply insecure character pressured by his father's legacy, torn by love for his brother Moses, and trapped by his duty as Pharaoh, making his descent into tyranny tragic rather than purely malicious. That's what makes him a pretty sympathetic villain.
yeah.
He's a sympathetic villain.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Yul Brynner's take on Ramses is good too. Now I wish Nefertiti is in this movie. You know, asking him before you strike me with that sword, show me Moses' blood on your sword. And then like Ramses drops the sword, sits down, and says, "His God is God."
Yep.
That's what Yul Brynner's is like. I wish we got a scene like that where Ramses is defeated, and maybe like add a couple of lines, and he's like, "I lost him forever." And I just come to real, and you want to know, and maybe something like this, I lost him forever, and I came to realize his God is God.
Yep.
Something like that. I really wish we could have gotten a moment like that where he goes back to his kingdom, sits next to Nefertiti, right? But Nefertiti is not even in this movie.
Nope.
But as sad as this is a tragic ending for Ramses, though. Like Ramses and Moses split their ways,
Yep.
and it's a sad end for Ramses, but that's what made him a pretty sympathetic villain in this movie.
Yep. And of course,
Because if he followed Moses, imagine how different that would be.
yeah,
And Ramses would have saw the light of day.
I mean, the ending would have turned out way different.
Mm-hmm.
But what we got at the end, it was sad, but it was a happy ending.
Definitely, it definitely had a happy ending. There is a happy ending that now Moses and the Hebrew slaves are free.
Yes, and of course, Moses got the 10 Commandments.
And he goes up into Mount Sinai holding two stone tablets containing the Ten Commandments which God has given them to live by.
Yes.
And it ends with the Deliver Us song.
Yep. And that is the end.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's how the movie ends.
yep, that's how it ends.
You know, something about Ramses, like when when Ramses was on the other side of the Red Sea, right? He cries out to Moses' name in rage, despair, and regret. Like there is a hint of regret from Ramses,
Yeah.
but he's still rageful while
Mm-hmm.
being despair.
Mm-hmm.
But but at the end of the day, really, he had his own path. He had his own path.
He does.
He had his own path. Moses had his own path. You know what? And that's that's that, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, movie ends with Moses showing coming down from Mount Sinai with the Ten Commandments carved in stone.
Mm-hmm.
And and the movie also ends with the with one of the others. I forgot the name of the song though.
But it was Deliver Us.
Deliver Us, right?
And then there was another song that was played during the credits.
Yeah.
It was sung by Whitney Houston. Is that
And
right?
Mariah Carey.
Yeah. And that song actually took home an Oscar.
Yeah, it did. Here's something I found out from the Red Sea. The 4 minute parting of the Red Sea sequence took 10 animators 2 years to complete.
2 years?
2 years. They took 2 years to complete that scene.
Wow. I mean, this movie came out in 1998.
1998. That's when technology was advanced.
Yes.
That was when technology was starting to advance.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but other than that, I like how the movie ends with some of it ends with some of the Bible text with some of the quotes from the Bible actually.
Yeah.
So after the credits, there are 3 excerpts praising Moses. And I quote, "Never again did there arise in Israel a prophet like Moses, whom the Lord singled out face to face." From Hebrew Bible Deuteronomy 34:10. Moses was sent to be their ruler and deliverer by God himself. New Testament's Acts 7:35. And called to mind through his divine writ, Moses, behold, he was chosen one and was an apostle of God, a prophet. Koran Sora 1951.
Wow. That I'd say that's the way how I would put it.
That's how it's being put. So this was a good movie.
Yeah, this was.
Now this movie, I like this movie a lot more. In my opinion, I like this movie a lot more than the Ten Commandments, most only because of the runtime. But both of these movies told really good stories.
Yes, this is definitely a good story.
It's still the same story, but it's told from a different perspective while being respectful to the source material, while being respectful for what came before.
Mm-hmm. And of course, When You Believe, which is music and lyrics by Steven Schwartz, really deserved that Oscar.
Oh yeah, that song really deserved that Oscar.
And of course, Hans Zimmer was also nominated for Best Original Musical or Comedy Score.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he didn't win.
No, I think it didn't. The score didn't win, but the song did.
Yes, but at least Hans Zimmer got the recognition he deserves.
Oh yeah. So, other than that, this is a good movie.
This was a good movie.
The animation holds up to this day.
And of course, this opens the door for other animated movies from DreamWorks Pictures.
Oh yeah, like years later, we got more DreamWorks movies from DreamWorks.
Yes, and of course, after the success of The Prince of Egypt, there was another hand-drawn animated movie that came out in 2000, which is called The Road to El Dorado.
Yep, Road to El Dorado.
And then
we had Chicken Run, which was stop motion animation.
And there's also the Shrek movie.
Right, Shrek.
To which that movie took home an Oscar for Best Animated Feature Film.
Yep.
I mean, I really wish that The Prince of Egypt would get an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature Film.
If that best animated feature category existed in the 90s, that movie, The Prince of Egypt, would have won.
Yes, yes, that movie would have won. And then there's also other DreamWorks film animated movies like Stallion the Cimarron. You also got Shark Tale, including other Shrek movies. Puss in Boots, among many other movies from DreamWorks Animation, including Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Rare Rabbit.
Yep.
And I also love the voice cast.
The voice cast in this movie was pretty good. Like Val Kilmer and Ralph Fiennes were definitely the heavy hitters of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell their chemistry when they interact with each other, when they're being, going in their brotherly bond is really good.
Also, Val Kilmer will forever be remembered as Moses, but his other roles, like Batman from Batman Forever, Iceman from Top Gun, and of course, also forgot to mention Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
That is right.
He's definitely going to be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and of course, a rest in peace to Val Kilmer.
Yep. Rest in peace of Val Kilmer.
Ralph Fiennes is obviously was obviously good in this movie.
Oh yeah, he was obviously good in this movie as Ramses.
He did a fantastic job.
He played a real tragic villain in that movie.
He would later go on to play Voldemort in the Harry Potter films.
Right. And then obviously Helen Mirren, Patrick Stewart, they both did pretty good.
And I also liked Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Yeah, Steve Martin and Martin Short. You know these guys. I mean, they definitely bring in some good comedic chops to this movie.
I say these two really had a lot of fun playing their characters.
Sandra Bullock was fine too.
Including Jeff Goldblum.
Well, I'll say this: Jeff Goldblum was Jeff Goldblum, and that's a good thing to say.
Also, Danny Glover. Don't forget, Danny Glover was in it too.
He wasn't in that movie for very long.
Yes. Also, Michelle Pfeiffer. Don't forget, Michelle Pfeiffer was very good.
Oh yeah, she was good. Yeah.
Even her. Not to mention, her character was a bit sassy at first.
Oh yeah, she was definitely sassy at first, but later got along with Moses pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I think their chemistry was very good too.
Yeah.
Like towards the middle of the movie. Hans Zimmer's musical score really holds up to this day.
It does, yeah. Like Hans Zimmer and Steven Schwartz did a real good job with the musical score.
Yes, animation is awesome, and including the directors, they really did a fantastic job directing this movie.
Story itself is good too. It's still the same story of the Book of Exodus, still the same story with some minor changes, but overall, I thought it did a real good job telling the story.
Yes, but The Prince of Egypt is up there with the Ten Commandments.
This movie will not top the Ten Commandments, but Ten Commandments is arguably the best biblical movie of all time.
Yep, and it will continue on for years to come.
Yep.
And this movie shall be praised.
Mm-hmm. So, anyway, other than that, that's pretty much it.
Yep, and let's not forget, there was a prequel, too.
Right, the Joseph.
Yes, the Joseph, to which we never seen this movie.
Right.
But it's much similar to The Prince of Egypt, but different.
Right.
But The Prince of Egypt still holds up to this day.
It does, yes.
In a biblical film, in a biblical way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say this movie definitely deserves a lot of attention.
Yep. And opened the door for future DreamWorks movies.
Exactly.
So, anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, for what it presented, this really opens the door for other DreamWorks projects in animation.
Yeah. With everything that was presented in this movie, I liked it.
I really liked it.
Yep. So,
even though it could be dark at times.
But that's the point. But the story itself is a little dark too. Can be dark too, despite what Moses had encountered, right?
Right.
So, anyway, with that being said, there you have it, folks. That is our take on the Prince of Egypt movie.
Yep.
I mean, definitely a good way to talk about this around Easter time too.
Yes, definitely around Easter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, definitely a good way, definitely a good time to talk about this movie, especially around Easter time as well.
And of course, there's definitely going to be more biblical films coming out from Hollywood.
Obviously, I mean, if done right.
Because Hollywood in a nutshell nowadays, kind of treated like biblical and Christianity films a lot different.
Yes, which is why Angel Studios is also set in stone as well.
Yep.
But anyway, I can't wait to see what Angel Studios also have in store for future biblical movies.
Uh huh.
But anyway, with that being said, there you have it, folks. That is our take on the Prince of Egypt movie. And if we are missing out on anything from this movie, please let me know in the comments section down below.
Uh huh.
So, anyway, with that being said, that will be a wrap for this episode. Anyway, it is around Easter time, so anyway, to anybody who's listening to this on Easter, happy Easter to everyone, and thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman.
I'm Mike Codo.
Remember to watch movies and stay positive.